Hi again. We use animation blocks to block every piece of our animation inside one block of code, which gives us a lot of flexibility in controlling the animation as well as knowing when the animation ends. So let's go ahead and see that in Xcode. I'm going to go ahead and start a new application called Animation Block. And I have to make the same set of outlets again, and I apologize for that. I know for a lot of you is repetitious, but I guess there might be, I actually know there are users who wouldn't watch these lessons in order, so they wouldn't really know where things are happening. So that's why I have to kind of redo these things every time. So that's that. I'll try my best to make it as fast as I can. UI view. Let's say this is going to be the red one. So this is the red view and this one is the orange view. Just like the last time. And this time I'm going to use the assistant editor. So maybe this time it would happen a little bit faster. So red box. And then after the red box, I have the orange box. And then after those, I will have my animate function, animate action, and that's an action. That's about it. So we have all of these now. I'm going to go back to my Swift file, and here is how you build an animation block essentially. So let me get myself a little better formatting. UI view dot animate with duration of, let's say, 2 seconds, and animations, and that's a closure. And the animation that I want to use is I want to have redbox.center to become CG point of the two values. Just like the last time, I'm going to say redbox center should become redbox.center.x and redbox.center.y plus, let's say, 300. And let's run this animation, see what we get up until this point. Very important point, I totally forgot. We are within a closure, so we have to use the self in here. So it says using a red box within closure, you need to make it make self for it. So self, self, and self. So then let's go ahead and run it. And now if I press the animate button, my red box essentially does that animation. So that's the basic animation block. Let's go ahead and add another animation block which does things a little differently. I'm going to say UI view dot animate, and this time I'm going to use the animate with duration as well as completion. So this is very similar to the previous one. It gets a time, let's say 2 seconds. It has an animation set. We want to do something, and it has a completion set. So here is how we're going to use that. I'm going to actually get myself a little better formatting here so we can see things easier. Let me call the result, for instance. And I want to push all of these a little bit further around there. This formatting usually it's quite important so that you know how things are happening essentially. So this first part is obviously our animation block. Let's say we want to have orange box dot alpha to become 0.2. So we want it to become almost transparent. And I have to mention self again, I forgot. So self.orangebox.alpha becomes 0.2. And then in the closure of the completion, I want to know when the animation ended. So when the animation ends, when the 2 seconds are gone, I want it to print that for me. I want it to say print animation is done. And let's run this application. So this time when I press, and now we got that little text saying animation is done. Let's change this a little bit so it makes more sense, right? So I'm gonna say when the animation runs, when the orange box alpha changes to 0.2, when it is done, let's run this other animation. So I'm gonna cut that out, place it here, and I don't need the first animation block anymore. So my new animation does this in 2 seconds, runs an animation of making that orange box alpha becoming somehow transparent. Once it is done, it makes the red box push down. So let's run it again. Now the way it will work right now is when I press the animate button, it's gonna make the orange box almost disappear within 2 seconds. And then in a split second, the red box is gonna jump down there. The red box is not going to animate itself simply because we didn't call for another animation in here. Let's see. Animate, disappears, boom, it jumps down there. Now, if we wanted the red box to also animate, we had to have another animation block. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me reformat everything as much as I can so I have more space. So this is the animation block. Maybe I make it like that so it's a bit easier to see, even though it really isn't. Now here in the completion block, I'm gonna say, well, UI view.animate without a completion this time. And the animation this time is, let's say 3 seconds. And the animation I wanna see is this, the red box doing something. Let me reformat everything again. It becomes a little bit of a messy code. I'm not really happy with that myself if you ask me, but unfortunately it is how it is. You could manually try to move things. You could actually try to push things back like this and like that, which is something I usually do, but keep an eye on to know where things are actually happening. The auto format itself makes it something like that, which is not the most explanatory situation. So if I run it now, this time when we press the animate, the orange box disappears, then the red box moves. Let's see. Orange box disappears, and then the red one moves through. And that's a basic introduction on how to use animation blocks. There are multiple different ways of using animation blocks. Most notable ones are with animation as well as a completion block, which helps you know when the animation ended, and on that basis you can decide something else. So let's keep it up to here and move on to our next lesson.